Happy fall! Today I'm going to show you how to do a pumpkin in a lemon peel stitch. And you can do it in a multiple array of yarns, any yarn you choose really. This one is a worsted weight size, so it works up smaller. This one is done with Woolies Thick and Quick, so it works up bigger. Nice thick stitches. And this one is made with blanket yarn. And that's what we're going to do today. And you can embellish them any way you like. You can add stems, you can add leaves, flowers, you can stack them, anything you prefer. So let's see. You'll need yarn. Now for worsted weight yarn, I use a 4.5 millimeter hook. And for Woolies Thick and Quick and for blanket yarn, I use a 7 millimeter hook. So today we're going to use the 7 millimeter hook. You need fiber fill. We're going to use Bernat blanket yarn. And this one is in color terracotta. And then obviously scissors, a long needle to tie off your ends. And I even like to use some stitch markers while I'm working, just to help me keep track of my rows. So we're gonna start with the blanket yarn today. We're gonna start by chaining 18. Got 1, 17, 18. So we have our chain of 18. We're going to yarn over and we're going to half double crochet in the second chain from your hook. So here's your first one and we're going to go into the second one. And we're going to do a half double crochet. I start and end each row with a half double crochet. So our lemon peel, you alternate double crochet stitches. So in our next stitch, we're going to do a double crochet. And then in the next stitch, you do a single crochet. And you will continue that, alternating the double crochet and the single crochet all the way across your first row till you get to the very last stitch, and then you will do a half double crochet. So we've got double crochet, single crochet. Oops. So you can kind of see you're getting a bit of a bumpy pattern here. Okay, we just did a single crochet. So we're going to do a double crochet. And again, we just continue to alternate double crochet and single crochet across the whole row. So with our lemon peel stitches, we started with a double crochet. We'll end with a double crochet in this spot second to last. And then in the very last spot here, we're going to do our half double crochet to complete our row. And we're going to chain 1 and turn. And you can see your pattern starting to unfold. So for the second row, we're going to alternate our stitches again, but we're going to start with a single crochet. So let's start with our double crochet in our first space. And then for the lemon peel, you alternate, you do a reverse of the first row. So we did double crochet as our first stitch on row 1 and then single crochet. So in row 2, we want to start with a single crochet in the top of your double crochet stitch and a double crochet in the top of your single crochet stitch. So you will be alternating each row. So you're still alternating single crochet in top of your double crochet stitch and double crochet in top of your single crochet from the previous round. And you will repeat that again all the way across. So again, on row 2, we started with our half double crochet, then our first lemon peel stitch was a single crochet on this row, and then alternated double crochet, single, double, single, all the way across. We ended in our second to last stitch with a single crochet, and now we're going to go into our very last stitch and do a half double crochet. Don't miss that stitch, or you'll change the whole shape of your pumpkin. You'll miss stitches. So that's what 2 rows should look like. And you start to have your pattern on both sides. So we're going to chain 1 and turn. And we're going to repeat row 1. So we're going to half double crochet in our first stitch. And then you can see we have a single crochet here. So we do our double crochet. And then we have a double crochet in the next stitch. So we'll do our single crochet. And you will do these rows alternating each row, alternating your single crochets and your double crochets. Your single crochet should always be in the top of a double crochet from the previous round, and your double crochet should always be in the top of a single crochet from the previous round. That's what gives it the alternating texture. See, we still have 3 stitches here, single crochet here, double crochet here, and then a half double crochet in our last spot. Chain 1, and we're going to turn again. So you can see your pattern starting to shape. And you can see on the wrong side, the back side is where your pattern pops. So we're going to alternate these rows, and on the blanket yarn, I like to do 24 rows. And that gets us this size pumpkin right here. Zoom out a minute. That gives us this size pumpkin right here. You can do more rows if you'd like it rounder and flatter. I wanted it to be a little puffier, so I stopped with 24 rows on this one. With the thick and quick and with the worsted weight, for both of those, I did 32 rows. So that kind of gives you your shapes. All right. So we're just going to keep continuing our pattern. Half double crochet in the first stitch. And this one, we continue like round 2. Single crochet in top of your double crochet and double crochet in top of your single crochet. And we'll come back when we get towards the end. All right, you can kind of see we're starting to get our pattern going. The lemon peel is a very pretty stitch, and it adds nice texture to the outside of these pumpkins. So you can see a stitch marker here. I've kind of marked my 10 rows. So you kind of count them by 2s. You've got your first and second rows right here. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I've done 13 rows so far. So we'll continue doing, we're going to do 10 more rows because we're going to do a total of 24 with this blanket yarn. All right, we've made it to our 24 rows. You can kind of see the lines where your sections end. So you count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. All right, so now we're going to seam it together. And you can either seam it with a whip stitch or seam it with a slip stitch, whatever you prefer. I'm going to do a slip stitch, but I'm only going to go into the back loops of my last row. So we'll go into the back loop and catch that first stitch. And I'm just going to do a slip stitch like that. All right, our last stitch. Gonna go into our last one, and I pull a pretty big loop. Now you're going to turn it inside, right side out, so that your seam now is on the inside. And rather than whip stitching around the top to cinch it closed, I like to do some half double crochets together, or half double crochet decreases. So we're going to yarn over, go into the first space, yarn over again, and there we've got our 2 stitches together. We're going to make some decreases. Yarn over, pull through all the loops. So you want to try and get into the end of each row. So you can kind of see there's a little indentation of a line that kind of separates your 2 rows. So you want to try and get 2 stitches between each of these lines. So we're going to insert our hook there, and then we're going to go right there. We're going to do this all the way around. And then when we're done, we're going to cut a tail so that we can then weave through some of these ends and cinch it closed. So I'll come back when I get all the way around. All right, so now we're at the end. You'll have to pardon the lawnmower in the background. And now I'm just going to slip stitch to the top of my first one there. And I'm going to cut a long tail. I like to cut a long tail on both ends. All right, and I'm just going to pull that through and knock that off so it doesn't come undone. And then, using a long needle, you're going to whip stitch through the front loops only of those stitches. If you go through both, it can make it a little too thick. And I'm going to actually go right over that gap there back into my first stitch. And then we're going to cinch that closed. And then I always like to knot it off because you don't want that to come undone. So there's one end. And I'm actually going to start stuffing it, because once I start cinching through the top, it's going to make my hole a little smaller. So it's easier to get most of the stuffing in before I cinch the top. Just kind of work it in there a little bit. All right, we're going to start with that there. Now I'm going to grab another piece of yarn and I'm going to get a knot on here. And then I'm going to slip stitch, let's see, where's my seam? Right there. I'm going to start again right by my seam. And I'm going to slip stitch that on. Oops. Pull that tight. There we go. All right. And now we're going to do half double crochet together all the way around this side as well. So we're going to make decrease stitches again. So we'll go back into our first space. And then we're going to pick one right about here. Trying again to go in the end of each row. Slip stitch into the top of our first one. All right. Again, I'm gonna cut a long tail. Let's knot this one. Oops, by pulling our yarn through and pulling that tight. There we go. And then you can kind of feel around, see where you need to add some stuffing, if you need to pack it down anywhere. There, we packed it down a little, so let's add a little bit more. Now I just add little bits at a time. And kind of fit it in right where I want it to go. Kind of check my shape. Looks like there's still a little hole right there. All right, we're pretty close. Actually, once we weave it through, we can check it too and see if there's anywhere we need to add. So I'm gonna take my needle off the other end, put it on this end, and again, we're just gonna whip stitch, weave in through the front loops only. And again, I like to bring it back over that seam to the other side so there's no gap. All right, feels pretty good stuffing wise. So I'm going to cinch my hole again, nice and tight, and I'm going to knot this one off too so it doesn't come undone. All right, now we're going to give our pumpkin a little shape by mushing it together. So if you have a longer needle, that would be best. This is the longest one I have. So I'm going to go through the center of my pumpkin, and I'm going to try and get it out the other side like that. There we go. And then take it back through the center. And you'll actually do this a couple of times. Now you're going to take it to the other side of the pumpkin. Now that you've gone through both sides, give it a little tug. And that starts to give your pumpkin a little more shape. Now, another thing you can do if you like is you can take your yarn around the outside and give it grooves as well. For this particular pumpkin, I just like to give it shape this way, but you can do it however you like. We're going to go in again, take it to the other side, and this time I'm actually going to, once I pull it tight where I like it, there we go. It's about where I like it. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to tie it off with the other one right now, so I keep its shape. One. Give that a knot. Now I always take these through at least 2 more times. Just so it doesn't come undone. Sometimes I knot it again right before. So let's do this one. All right. All right, I'm gonna knot it again. I'm gonna cut the tail I just used. Take my needle off. Now I'm gonna take and weave this one in a couple times. All right, cut that off. And then I like to just take these ends and use a hook, just kind of pull them through, hide them inside. So that's the bottom. And like I said, you can embellish the top. You can make your own sticks from what you can find in the yard. Cut them about 2 inches. These I actually ordered a pack on Amazon. Okay, I like to use hot glue to attach my stems. Let's see. Get a good amount in there. Sometimes there's a flatter end. Go with that one. And then just hold it in there till the glue dries a little bit. And then I like to just tie, I use raffia and twine. On my little ones, I just do twine. So little ones look like, they look like that. All right. So we'll take our raffia and our twine. Usually wait till it's hardened a little bit longer, but try not to move it too much. And then I like to just separate the, you can use ribbon, you can add flowers, you can add leaves, whatever you like. And I don't want the ends to be longer than the table, so we'll give them a little trim. And then to finish it off, I like to add a little glue right underneath the bow to hold it in place. And there you go. It's a finished pumpkin. And you have so many options. So I hope you enjoy making one. Let me know what you think. And I'd love if you shared what you make and tag me on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook. Happy crocheting!